When she laughed, it cut through me like a blade. That sound echoed off the cold walls of the courtroom, sharp and cruel. She stood there, smiling, telling the judge she would take half of everything. My money, my grandmother's estate. People in the gallery chuckled. Even her attorney had the nerve to grin. She thought she had already won. I let her believe it. Claire and I had been married for a decade. In the early days, she was warmth itself, bright, soft, the center of my world. We made our home in the estate my grandmother left me, a place that smelled of lavender and old wood, where every hallway still whispered of her. I told Claire the estate was sacred, untouchable. She kissed me, swore she'd protect it too. But promises rot when greed takes hold. At first, I refused to see it. The late nights, the sudden taste for luxury, the hushed phone calls that ended the moment I entered the room. I told myself love required patience. But patience is the very thing betrayal feeds on. The truth arrived one night when I opened her laptop and saw what she'd been writing, a draft email to her lawyer. It was all there, a plan to take me apart piece by piece. My accounts, my shares, the estate, everything. The words were venomous, as though I were nothing more than an obstacle in her path. Something inside me went still. No rage, no shouting, just a quiet resolve. I never confronted her. That would have spoiled everything. Instead, I became deliberate, careful, invisible. I moved my liquid assets first, quietly, legally, in ways even the best attorney couldn't follow. I built layers of protection, trusts and shell companies, shifting pieces until my fortune was a fortress. Then I secured the estate. That was what she wanted most, so I made sure it was beyond her reach. I placed it under a heritage trust in my grandmother's name, structured so that no one but her direct bloodline could claim it. Ironclad. All the while, I let Claire spend freely. I kept the joint accounts fat enough to tempt her. Designer clothes, exotic trips, dinners with her friends. Every dollar she drained only tightened the trap. By the time the divorce began, she was practically glowing with arrogance. She walked into court like she was walking into a royal gala. Her lawyer painted me as a heartless millionaire who owed her the world. I sat silently and let them talk. Then came her moment of triumph, that laugh, sharp and victorious, as she declared she would take my fortune and my grandmother's estate. The judge's brow lifted. The gallery murmured. Claire smiled, certain she had already won. The heat of her stare pressed against me, waiting for me to falter. But I didn't. Instead, I reached calmly into my briefcase and drew out the thick envelope I had prepared long ago. Without a word, I slid it across the table toward the judge. Take another look, I said, my tone flat, almost indifferent, but the shift in the air was immediate. He broke the seal, pulled out the stack of certified documents, notarized statements, and carefully traced the path of evidence I had built piece by piece. When he finished reading, he lifted his eyes to Claire, and to everyone's surprise, he laughed, not softly, but a sharp, ringing laugh that froze the entire courtroom. Mrs. Turner, he said, amusement still tugging at his lips, you've made claims to property that never belonged to your husband. These assets have been in his grandmother's trust for years. You, madam, have no legal claim to them. Claire's face drained of color. Her lawyer flipped frantically through his notes, searching for an argument that wasn't there. A low ripple of voices filled the room, like the distant sound of a storm. Claire turned to me, her eyes wide with disbelief, but I only tilted my head slightly, enough for her to understand. This was deliberate. I had led her here. The judge went on, his voice calm but cutting. And based on the financial records provided, the joint accounts were emptied by Mrs. Turner of her own accord. Mr. Turner's fortune remains intact and legally his. There is no justification for awarding her half his wealth. Her triumphant laughter from earlier echoed in my memory, now hollow and mocking. The smugness was gone, replaced by trembling lips and a flicker of fear. She had been loud, reckless. I had been patient. And that patience had destroyed her case. When the session ended, I stepped outside into the cold, heavy afternoon air. The sky hung gray above me, but I felt weightless. Claire followed soon after, her eyes red, mascara smudged, her lawyer refusing to meet her gaze. She opened her mouth as if to speak, but I didn't give her the chance. Silence was my answer, the sharpest cut of all. She had lost not just the money she schemed for, but the illusion of control. And worse, she had learned she had never truly known me. I walked away, steady and unhurried. In my mind, I still heard the cruel laugh she had let loose earlier. But now it was mine to keep. It would follow her, not me. The estate remained safe, untouchable. A monument to everything she could never have. Justice doesn't roar. It moves quietly, deliberately, like a blade in the dark. And as I turned the final page on Claire Turner, I felt no triumph, no regret, only the pure, cold clarity of an ending I had crafted myself. She had played with fire. And I had let her burn.